But her body language with him, not great. Not great. Because every time Casey goes in to talk to her, and especially when he goes in to kiss her, Aniya be like, she be going back. What is up, everybody? Here to talk about yesterday's long-ass premiere of Love Island USA. Lots to talk about, so I want to get right into it. I'm basically going to break down the three main aspects with my first opinions for the season, breaking down all the people separately, what I feel about them, their first coupling up, and then, of course, the twist at the end. And I would like to hear all your comments about what you think about all these people as well, whether you agree with me or not. Let's start with Aniya separately. She started the season with Kenzie coming in together. Both of them loud. Both of them doing a lot. But, they both seem like silly, goofy girls. That's what I got from Aniya. I actually liked her more and more as the episode went on. I knew coming in I was probably going to like her just by everything happening preseason with her. But she really does seem like a good time, and she really does seem like she has a good head on her shoulders and that she's going to be patient. And that is something that I'm going to be while covering this season. I said this last time I did a video, the last couple times I did a video coming into this season, that I'm going to give myself 2 weeks before I make any official decisions about whether these players, these contestants are genuine, or should I say sincere, or if they're scamming, and then same goes for their couples. Now, Kenzie, she is silly and goofy, but she seems like she's trying to be silly and goofy. Like, she really wants to be, but deep down, she's a Sagittarius. And every Sagittarius has some terrorist in there somewhere, and she is giving me those cokehead crazy eyes. And she's just a lot. I said from jump in my initial first impressions on this cast that she was a lot, just in the 10 seconds they showed of her in the very first video they posted of this cast. And I still feel that way. However, I typically like Sagittarius in real life on shows like this. She's going to give some mess. Whether I like that or not remains to be seen. But so far, she's still a little too much for me. Melanie, everyone liked her comments coming into this season about how she doesn't like to say the term girls, because if you are, you just are. You don't have to say it. And I like that too, because I'm sick of hearing about the whole girls, and then you go on the show and you're not girls at all. So I like that she's maybe putting a stop to that. But then Aniya, Kenzie, and Melanie made this pact that they were going to tell each other when they're being delusional. They made a let's tell each other when we're being delusional pact. But then later in the episode, I feel like Melanie made Kenzie delusional. So I'm keeping my eye on Melanie, and I'll talk about that more as we go along here. Beatriz, I'm not going to be able to roll my R's, but she is someone who I was unsure of at first too. She's kind of a lot too. She is very fiery. She yaps a little too much for me personally. But by the end, she definitely might come out of here as one of my favorites so far. Although these are just contenders to be my favorites, because I'm not making official decisions for 2 weeks. But I did like her more and more as the episode went on, similar to Aniya. Trinity is the youngest girl for now, because the bombshell, I believe, was also 22, I think. But Trinity said that she falls fast, but is not to be played with. And I can kind of see that. She also, during the first challenge with the kissing, they had to choose things, and she talked about how she used to be a person where you had to check her phone, which to me means that she used to be a cheater. I think she's a Libra, and that's just what they do. Libras really do have a lot of love to spread, and I think she is someone who is going to have a very good time playing the game of Love Island. She already seems very go with the flow to me. I don't know if I'm going to be able to ever take any of her pairings seriously. We're going to see how she keeps moving, but I think she's going to move like a Libra, which means, she's here for a good time, not a long time with a lot of these people. And she's so young, so it makes sense all the way around. As for the guys, I've already said off rip that I don't think Sincere is going to be sincere. And his entire opening package is about how he's such a ladies' man, how he wants to spread the love, how he wants to find that chase. I would be shocked if Sincere isn't going to be a problem. I would be shocked if Sincere isn't going to be a player. So I think Sincere can cause some damage this season, especially if everything he said in his opening package is true. But if it's not, why would he say all of that? Bryce was next, and he has some age on him, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I like that this cast is the opposite of last year, because last year it seemed like the girls were older and the guys were younger, and that was a recipe for disaster. We had very little real couplings to root for, or even seem to be real. The opposite is kind of more true to life. I feel like, the guys are older, the girls are younger. Bryce is the oldest, though. So I want to take him seriously because of his age, that he's actually looking for something serious. Astrology-wise, I believe he's a Cancer, if that's correct. So I do believe him when he says he wants to connect on emotions. And he talked about that look in the eye with another person that you actually love because you care about them. So I feel everything that he was saying. He definitely gave more grown energy when it actually comes to the whole love aspect. We'll talk about his couple in a second, though. Zach came in, Charlie's brother, honestly giving very much Charlie energy in the fact that he's like, there is a chemistry-less void with him. I feel like, much like his brother, he didn't have chemistry with anybody. And then he comes in talking about how he wants to be dominated. Basically, he wants an alpha female. I don't know how I feel about Zach. Of all the people, Zach is someone who I don't trust. I'm going to give him 2 weeks to prove that he might be genuine if he lasts that long. Because I really do feel like he could be coming in scamming. He watched last season. He knows what the audience might like and doesn't like. Zach, one of my least favorite castings so far. Sean's a mess. He talked about how he went on a string of dating apps and then wound up with the kid. This came after a long relationship. I didn't like him either. Out of all the guys, he gave me the most ridiculous vibes. There's something about him that I feel like he should be closer to that age when he should be trying to be less wild, and yet he came across as the most wild guy. This coming after he lets everyone know that he has a kid and that he is a cop. There's just a lot of things with Sean that I don't like personally. I'm going to have a hard time seeing any of his relationships going well. But I mean, maybe him having a kid did mature him and he's just coming in here off rip to be wild, and we're going to see him actually be mature. I kind of hope so. Casey is the youngest guy, and he was talking about how he likes to be a chaser but wants to be a lover boy, and he's another one that I want to believe. We'll see if he's still there in 2 weeks and I can give my complete assessment on what I think about him. But him being the youngest guy, I think, is already working against him, not only with the cast but also with my opinion for him. Even though I like him, he's one of the guys I like the most, actually. The age thing is going to be something to watch with him. Let's talk about the first couples that coupled up after their kissing contest, which just left my lips feeling rough and dry after having to see them kiss everybody. Trinity chose Bryce. The youngest girl choosing the oldest guy, just the youngest in general, choosing the oldest guy. There's just a lot of things working against this couple because I already see so much projecting online with the opinions for them, because I feel like a lot of people were trying to see, are they trying to be the next Nick and Olandra? Me included. Are they just going to try and scam this? But to me, you can't say they didn't have a vibe for each other. And I am open to see if that vibe continues, even though they are both clearly exploring right now. He talked about how he fixes garbage trucks, and she talked about how she likes a man who works with his hands, getting his hands dirty. They seem fitting for each other despite the age gap. And the age gap to me really isn't that bad. This was a normal millennial age gap. Me being a millennial, I've been on both sides of this age gap. In an early 20s with someone older, and in the late 20s with someone in their early 20s. So for me, the 7-year age gap with this age, it was very typical with millennials. But I do find that Gen Z is very weird when it comes to age gaps. And I feel like Bryce doesn't want to feel like he's on Age of Attraction instead of Love Island. He was talking about by the end of the episode that he doesn't want to still her youth. But I think that's just him being cautious. And I think that's actually very mature of him. I don't think that was a bad thing. And I do feel like she gives the vibe that she's very go with the flow. So I can understand why Bryce was getting that vibe from her as well. So we'll see if they really do try and still be a thing, even though they're both exploring. I think they deserve a chance, and I'm going to give them a chance with my little 2-week period here that I'm doing. I find like a lot of people are being overly judgmental of them or just projecting their own shit onto them, whether it's an interracial thing or an age gap thing. I want to see how it plays out and if they even play out at all. Beatriz chose Sean. You know, they both kissed a lot and it seemed like they liked the kissing, but I was thinking like, do they like the kissing or did they just kiss each other the most? And, you know, that's why they kind of liked each other off rip, although they both said they had good chemistry with their kissing. But clearly Beatrice was not feeling the single dad aspect when the girls asked her about it later in the episode. And definitely the nail in the coffin for her was his love for country music. And it should have been the nail in the coffin for him. Because this is what actually won me over with Beatrice, is that she hated that country music and she stood on that. And I agreed 100%. If you're going to listen to country music, I don't know if we're compatible, to be honest. So I'm glad that she feels the same way. And she's honestly an early candidate to be one of my faves along with Aniya for the women. She chose to explore at the end too. And I think that she is someone that knows what she wants and also wants to have fun. And I'm behind her so far. She seems very bold when it comes to relationships. She's going to go for what she wants. She wants to explore, even though Sean seems really, really into her. I also can be won over by Beatrice and Sean. I don't really like Sean so far. I find him to be ridiculous, but I'm open in this 2-week period to see some growth with Sean. Melanie and Aniya both chose Sincere, and then he ended up choosing Melanie. People were bringing up his social media before the season, and it was pretty clear that Melanie was his type, so I'm not surprised that he chose Melanie over Aniya. I would have never done so, but that is what he did. Not that there's anything wrong with Melanie. I just think Aniya has the face and the body. So yeah, we had to watch Melanie and Sincere bond, and for me, having to sit and watch two Eagles fans bond was disgusting. But that aside, I do feel like they kind of have chemistry, but to me it's giving more mutual crush vibes, which is a good place to start. I don't get what Melanie is saying, that they have chemistry because they're both East Coasters. I mean, I get that they might have more in common, but I don't really think that that's what adds up to chemistry. I think they just both have these crushing vibes, because she was talking about how he already makes her shy, which is a big deal, and he was cheesing already. I do think that she is his type, but the problem is his entire intro was, I'm a ladies' man, I'm a total player, and she's a Scorpio. So if he's going to actually be exploring and she's going to fall for him, it's going to be a recipe for disaster. It's already giving me early Leah and Rob vibes where they had a spark. That went to hell. Giving early Huda and Jeremiah vibes, the first two into each other. That was even worse in hell. Usually the first episode, people, where there's a couple like really, really into each other, it really, in the last 2 seasons at least, it spells crashing and burning, and I can definitely see this happening here, because I can't not sit here and believe that Sincere is not going to be a player at some point. And if not early on, certainly at Casa. However, I'm not saying that they can't stay the course and work through all of the turmoil that's to come. And I'm not saying that this is not going to be a very entertaining couple. I think they can give drama, both of them. I can see it in both of them. However, I also feel like they are starting on like a friendly vibe too. Like they have an attraction for each other. They have that mutual crush. They give, like, they can be friends. And I think that is the best way to actually like set up a future relationship, laying the groundwork with friendship. So I just want to see what mess they bring, to be honest. Kenzie chose Zach. This was just hot ass mess from jump because he is boring and she is crazy. And he was not feeling her at all, talking about how he's never dated a blonde. He likes darker features. People speculating Zach has a crush on someone else there. It's possible. People saying that he was looking at Trinity. And I did see that too. But if he's looking for an alpha female, I don't really see that in Trinity. I think he needs to look Beatrice's way because she's giving the alpha female vibes out of all of the people, at least on the original cast. But Kenzie and Zach, no. Zach is not into her one bit. It's probably the crazy eyes, to be honest. And then nobody chose KC. I don't know if it's because he chose the plant during the kissing challenge or what. But since both Aniya and Melanie chose Sincere chose Melanie, that left KC and Aniya to get together. And I really do like them separately. Like, they're both early contenders to be some of my favorites. However, like, them as a couple, there's something there on his side for sure. Like, he seems really most into her out of all the other girls. I don't know if this, was even more after he learned that her dad was an NBA player. It seemed like that made him like her even more. But her body language with him, not great. Not great. Because every time KC goes in to talk to her, and especially when he goes in to kiss her, Aniya be like, she be going back. So judging body language, that worries me because I don't know if Aniya is really feeling attraction for him or if she's just being overly cautious. But if they can still be together in 2 weeks, they could likely be my fave couple. There's something there. I feel like she's being very mature about it. She can't read his vibe. I don't know if the attraction is there on her side though. But either way, I do think they're going to be two of my faves separately or together. Then in the end, they had to choose to stay or explore. Beatriz chose to explore, which I thought was good for her because Sean is a mess. Zach chose to explore, as he should have. Kenzie did not choose to explore like she should have, and Melanie convinced Kenzie to do that because Kenzie, in her gut, was feeling right that Zach was not feeling her. She went to talk to Melanie about it. And Melanie made her delusional. This is what I was talking about earlier. I'm going to give them both the benefit of the doubt for now, though. But I will be watching to see if Melanie tries to make others delusional. If that's going to be a whole thing with her, it's going to irk me. And I am not doing pity for Crash Out Kenzie. Certainly not this early. Because even by the preview, she's already crashing out, saying she always chooses cheaters. I don't want all these people to feel pity for Kenzie. That being said, though, it makes me like Kenzie a little more. There's something odd about her that's just off. She's a lot, and she does have crazy eyes, and I think that's a big part of it. She has this energy that she doesn't know how to get it all out. You can see it on her face throughout this entire first episode. There's a lot going on with her energy. But we're early, and she could grow on me because I do typically like Sagittarius women. Bryce and Trinity both chose to explore. The whole age gap right now, making them both iffy. I was happy that Aniya chose to not explore yet and wants to actually give KC a try. That is mature of her, and that is why I think I could like them. And of course, Melanie and Sincere chose to stay. I think he is really trying to get to know her, and that's good. However, when the twist came, if you watched Sincere, he was disappointed when they were told that only the people on the red circle would get to kiss the bombshell. Sincere was disappointed. There is already something inside him that wants to explore, which is why I think that coupling up could be potential crash and burn. The two new bombshells were Gabriel and Kayda. We know Gabriel from the original. I think he was supposed to originally be on the cast, but since all of a sudden got booted, Gabriel is now a bombshell. Kayda is new. Gabriel ended up kissing Beatriz and Trinity because they chose to explore. Kayda kissed Zach and Bryce because they chose to explore. Gabriel seems like a good kisser. He came in with the sensual kissing, and I think from that alone, he should be trouble for the rest of these guys. He really does seem like he is going to be able to vibe with a lot of the women. And then the new girl came in, Kayda. She was talking a big game that guys are going to be on their knees for her. But her kissing was like, especially compared to Gabriel's, it was like a golf clap. Okay, Kayda, good try. I do feel like maybe if she's talking a big game that people are going to be on knees for her. It could be good with Zach. But if it's Bryce, then he's going to have to keep that same energy that he had with Trinity because there's the exact same age gap. So it's not looking great for Bryce if the age gap is going to be a problem for him. And Gabriel, I don't know who he should choose between Beatriz and Trinity. I felt like there was more chemistry with Beatriz with the kissing. But she might just have chemistry with a lot of people with her kissing. They also both have the whole Latin flair kind of. I mean, he's Brazilian, but we'll see what happens. It was a good first episode. I do like the cast. I'm ready for the mess, and I do think that Melanie and Sincere are eventually going to provide quite the mess once Sincere wants to explore